Hi team, in this video I'm going to be talking about 6 different things that I do as a nervous system practitioner to support my nervous system to get off to the best possible start first thing in the morning. And I have spent the last 2 years tweaking and working with my morning routine, as one does, because we need to do different things in different stages of our healing journey, and also because everybody has different needs as well. So in this video I'm going to be sharing what I do and a little bit about why I've done those things. But this video is not to say that you should do those things, and it is also not to be a substitute for medical advice or therapeutical support. If you are someone that is really struggling with trauma, dysregulated nervous system, burnout, I strongly suggest that you seek medical and professional advice. I help people, my name's Donna Louise, and I help people to get out of survival mode, to restore their nervous system and to reconnect with themselves again. That's what I went through, and that's what I have trained in doing. So if you want to know more about working with me, please look in the comments section and find the link to my website. Now, I just over three years ago now, I went through a period of chronic traumatic stress, which is just being under immense amount of stress for an extended period of time. So it was around about a 2-year period. And within that period, I also had different relational traumas, and I had an acute trauma as well. So a really specific, serious event. And what happened, what I learned off the back of this time period, was that I was suffering from a dysregulated nervous system. I'd experienced a lot of trauma over that period, and I had a lot of physical consequences because of that. I speak about this in my other videos, one of the main ones being IBS. This was huge for me, as well as a lot of different aches and pains in the body and inability to sleep very well, and a whole range of different symptoms. One of those, when I went and had some hormonal tests done, was to find out that my cortisol was extremely low. Now, often we hear about cortisol, people having really high cortisol, and that is also a consequence of stress, burnout, trauma, etc. can be. But because I'd had this period of chronic traumatic stress, my cortisol was very low because I had what they call adrenal fatigue. And that's where my adrenal glands had been producing that much cortisol and adrenaline to the point where they had eventually kind of depleted their resources, and they were exhausted. And I was absolutely exhausted and worn out and weak and tired and had no energy and was in pain and had anxiety, etc. So it wasn't a great time. But healing all of that took more than this morning routine, a lot more. Healing from trauma and a dysregulated and burnt out nervous system requires a full holistic approach, and it requires time and patience as well. So when we see these videos online that talk about how to reset your nervous system, especially when they say like reset your nervous system in the morning, or reset your nervous system in this day, or whatever you see out there. The way I look at those videos and those activities is very much of like, oh yeah, I can do these exercises if my nervous system already has good baseline regulation. So right now I would consider myself as someone that has good baseline regulation. I am within my window of tolerance most of the time, and my level of self-awareness and my connection with my interoceptive cues in my body and understanding how my body is feeling and what my body needs is pretty good right now. And so for me, if I have a stressful experience and I feel dysregulated and I notice I'm feeling dysregulated longer than what I think is reasonable for the event that has happened, then doing some exercises can help bring me back down to baseline. Doing some shaking, doing some breathing, maybe not one session, maybe over a few days or the course of a week or two in some cases, but doing those exercises potentially can bring me back into my window of tolerance and into a good parasympathetic rest and digest baseline state of regulation. But when you already have a really dysregulated nervous system from chronic traumatic stress or an acute stress or an acute trauma, or you burn out from years and years of doing too much and getting too little, or whatever the reasons might be, being in survival state for far too long, right? Then it took the nervous system a long time. In many cases, it took the nervous system a long time to get there, and therefore it will take a fair amount of time to restore and recover that nervous system. Not necessarily the same amount of time, but we've got those periods, but we've also got a lifetime of other stresses and potential traumas underneath the things that we are aware of that have been suppressed over time, that also need healing, also need time and space and grace to come to the surface and to do what it is that they need to do to be integrated and processed. So things that can take traumas that may have taken a lot of time to cause the dysregulation in the first place, or it was an acute event, a very powerful event that caused a lot of intense dysregulation, and the force of that was too much. And so we have to be very, very patient and gentle about repairing that as well. So resetting it by doing some breath work or doing some shaking, which I do all of those things, is great, but it's not going to do it the way that it's sold to us online, on Instagram, on YouTube, on social media, that you can just reset your nervous system if you don't already have that good baseline regulation. So for me, circling back, morning routine, I used to wake up with a racing heart, and I had adrenal fatigue, but my cortisol was dysregulated. So I used to wake up in the morning feeling stressed and feeling anxious. Now I don't have that. But as I've said, my morning routine has changed over time. I would still do all of these things that I am doing today. I still would have done them before. I think this is the best routine that I've got so far. So I'll begin. Number one is to start the day gently. So what do I mean by that? So I start the day, my alarm clock is a gentle alarm clock. It's not this, really intense, loud, aggressive, assertive sound. It's a gentle sound that naturally wakes me up. I'm also someone that typically wakes up before my alarm, but sometimes not, but my alarm is gentle. Then what I do is I put on a lamp. I don't put on the big light. I put on a lamp, and so that it's still quite dark in my apartment. And I also sometimes I can find myself just kind of laying in bed and being like, I don't want to get up. And what I have found works for me as well is to put on gentle music. And it's kind of like a stimulus that when I put on the music, it's time to get up. So I have a early morning playlist, which is very soft, chilled out music. This works for me. It might not work for you. I know a lot of people talk about getting up and not putting on any music or TV or whatever, and that just being quiet in the morning is what is most important for them. This is what works for me. So having this really slow start for the first hour of the morning is what I find to just allow me to gently come round, allows my nervous system to gently wake up. Now, I do get out of bed pretty much immediately, which brings me to the second thing that I do, which is I go and I use the bathroom. So this sounds like, oh, too much information, Donna. But what I mean is I listen to my interoceptive cues. I know that I mentioned a minute ago that if I'm laid in bed and I'm just staring and I'm ignoring what my body needs, typically what my body needs to do within a few minutes of waking up is I need to use the bathroom, I need to stretch a little bit, and I need to take a sip of water. This is me listening to the cues from my body about what my body needs and wants me to do. And it is so easy to think to yourself, I'm just going to get 5 more minutes, or I'm just going to ignore that. I'm just going to ignore myself, and I'm going to have 5 or 10 more minutes in bed. And I want to urge you, if you are serious about nervous system regulation and recovering your nervous system, that you listen and you act upon your interoceptive cues, because when you begin to ignore those, you are immediately causing dysregulation. You are suppressing your body's needs from the start. And if you have experienced trauma, then that in itself creates this distance from our body. And this is why I talk about restoring the nervous system and reconnecting with yourself. Not just this interoceptive thing and going to the bathroom, but this is how it starts. So building that relationship with my body. What does my body want me to do in this moment? Does it want me to take a drink before I get up? Does it want me to take a stretch before I get up? Does it want me to open the curtains and let more light in? I just listen to what my body is asking me to do. And if I am ignoring that, I know that, like, as soon as I realize I'm ignoring that, I'm like, okay, no, I have to get up and I have to do this now. That is a non-negotiable for me. The third thing that I do, this isn't every single morning, but it is, I would say I do this maybe 3 mornings out of 7, is I will get back on the bed. I tell you when I do this, the mornings on my rest days when I don't go to the gym. That's why it's 3 out of 7. I get back on my bed and I will put on a timer for 10 minutes to do 10 minutes of coherent breathing with my hand on my heart. And in that time, I am just checking in with myself about how I am feeling. And coherent breathing is when we are breathing for the rate of 5.5 breaths per minute. We are inhaling through our nose for the count of 6 and exhaling either through our nose or through our mouth for a count of 6 as well. I typically recommend breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. And what we're trying to do is breathe down into the diaphragm slowly. Coherent breathing isn't about breathing necessarily deeply. It's about breathing, slowing the breath down and breathing in 360 degrees. So instead of just trying to breathe deeply and open and expand everything in this kind of like deep and forceful way, what we're trying to do is just gently expand and open and slow down the breath. And this breathing technique I typically practice, I would say, no less than twice a day. I normally do it on my lunchtime or at night time. Sometimes I'll do it 3 times a day. It is my absolute go-to for helping to reset my nervous system and support my nervous system throughout the day and in the evening as well. That is because I already have a good baseline of regulation now. That's why I use that word reset, right? But coherent breathing brings all of our body's systems into coherence. So it helps to regulate and bring many of the body's systems, which now all seem to have escaped me. Like, it supports your digestive system, it supports your immune system, it supports the nervous system. I think that's enough systems for now. And just brings everything in alignment. Now, when we wake up first thing in the morning, we do naturally produce cortisol, as I said. And if, you know, especially if you've got this dysregulation, then you can feel that surge. You can choose to try it out, whether you do coherent breathing before number 5 or number 4 that I'm going to share with you, or after. But I do this every day just to help be like, hi, good morning, everybody. And yeah, we're gonna be slow, we're gonna be chilled, we're gonna, you know, start the day in this really nourishing and nurturing and present way. And then I'm also checking in with myself as well about how I'm feeling. Number 4 also relates to my interoceptive cues, which is I eat. I typically eat within 30 minutes to an hour of waking up. And when I did have a very dysregulated nervous system, I wasn't hungry in the morning and I didn't want to eat until much later. But I have since learned about how, obviously we know that being in survival mode creates a disconnect from our parasympathetic nervous system. Our rest and digest nervous system is compromised. And so there's a lot that doesn't function correctly in the digestive system when we are suffering from, you know, severe dysregulation. And one of those is that I felt applied to me was that if I'm not hungry in the morning, why am I not hungry in the morning? And I saw this as a sign of something that I needed to invest in, helping to regulate my hunger hormones in the morning to support me to get up and to get on and fuel my day. And I also work out most mornings in some shape or form. So I do mobility on my rest days, pretty much, but 4 days of the week I train for a very short amount of time. I'll explain that in a minute, but I need to fuel myself to go to the gym or to do whatever movement I'm going to do, because doing movement without putting food and fuel into the body causes more stress, because the body's like, nothing is coming in, but you are now working out, you are now doing things, but you haven't refueled. And so is something stressful happening? The body doesn't know the difference between whether you're going to go and do a workout or whether someone's chasing you, you know, whether there's a tiger chasing after you. So you want, by putting a bit of food in your body in the start of the morning, it helps to reduce cortisol spike. So if you are feeling any kind of anxiety in the morning, regulating your blood sugar and getting some fuel into the body. I'm no nutrition expert, evidently. I'm just sharing with you what I know, right? So getting some fuel in helps to support blood sugar, helps to let your, I want to say the hypothalamus, helps your brain to understand that fuel is coming in, therefore we're a-okay to get on and to go and do some movement, etc. Now, I have breakfast in 2 parts. I'm just sharing with you what I do. The first part of my breakfast is I have some carbohydrates, so I will typically have a banana before I go to the gym. And then as soon as I come back from the gym, I will have some yogurt, some Greek yogurt, some oats, some chia seeds, some flax seeds to support my hormones, again to support my digestive system, some berries, and a protein shake. I have 2 breakfasts, and or if I don't have that, I'll have like a tortilla with some ham and cheese or something like this. But I eat 2 breakfasts, and then I will have a decaf coffee later. So I have eliminated having caffeine out of my diet in the morning. That is also part of this eating thing, so I don't do that. Number 5 is movement. I think the one of, like, it's so difficult to say the most important thing or one of the most important things, because they're all important, because it is this whole holistic process. But building a relationship with my body, with movement, with exercise, with my physical health has been huge for supporting my nervous system and for recovering from trauma. And typically my morning routine looks like I go to the gym for around about 7 a.m. and supporting this idea of a gentle start to the day, because you might be thinking, well, you said that you need to be gentle in the first hour of the day. Normally I'm the first person in the gym with my friend, and what we do is game changer, is that we only have like a quarter of the lights on. So we work out in dimmed, not in a bright, intense environment. And we also work out to my chill out morning playlist. So we don't work out to really intense music. And that's because I spent no less than 20 minutes doing calm mobility work. And I do mobility because it also comes with deep breathing. So it's an extension from the coherent breathing it's kind of like on my gym days, I'm doing my coherent breathing when I'm doing mobility, and then on my off days, my rest days, I just lay on the bed with my hand on my heart. So I am doing 20 minutes of mobility, and then I just do 20 minutes of strength training. And that is my morning workout. It's very, very simple. It's very gentle, and I love it. And I've been doing the morning thing now for about 6 months. I used to do my workout in the evening, but I never really enjoyed it at the end of the day. So I've swapped it to the morning workout until to 7 a.m. and it's working really well for me. And finally, actually, one last thing. After my morning gym session, I walk the long way home. So I get the morning daylight as well. So I walk the long way home. And this leads into number 6, which is I connect with a friend. So I have co-regulation in the morning. Most mornings, 5 out of 7 mornings, I have co-regulation with my friend. So if I'm at the gym, I see them and we talk and we connect. We don't talk that much, but then we go on this morning walk, this short 15-20 minute long walk home, and we talk about whatever it is that we want to talk about. But I have that co-regulation, I have that supportive person to connect with in my life. And if I am on the rest days, or if it's on the weekend and I'm not with that that person, then I often call a friend over the weekend as well. Or I get to work and I see my colleagues at work that I'm really grateful for, because we get on so well, and we will have a coffee at work together. I'm very lucky in that respect. And there we have it. That is the 6 ways that I support myself, support my nervous system most mornings. I would love to hear how that landed with you. So if you found any of that interesting, or you're going to give any of it a go, or if you've got any other tips and suggestions and things that you do, go ahead and pop them in the comments section below. I would absolutely love to hear from you. And if you've liked this video, maybe you want to share it with a friend or subscribe to the channel. And if you're interested in working with me, again, just to finish, my name is Donna Louise, and I am a trauma-informed somatic practitioner, a functional breathwork coach, a clinical EFT practitioner, and also a trainee counsellor. And I help people to, what do I help people to do? To get out of survival mode, to restore their nervous system, and to reconnect with themselves again. Thank you very much for being here. Good luck with your morning routines, and let me know how it goes. Thank you. Bye-bye.